Hello, everybody. We're kicking off our 2025 Montgomery County Football Media Day. We're going to kick things off with Kirkwood High School. We're here with head coach Chad Watson and quarterback Miles Redding. Guys, before you start, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us, kicking this thing off. Just kind of trying to bring some attention to the football in the county. But, Chad, I kind of want to start with you. When you took the job, coming from Gallatin, what was kind of the intrigue of having the opportunity to build your own program from the ground up, kind of get that thing started?
I think that was the main thing, was just the opportunity. It's a rare opportunity to go into a program and completely lay the foundation and build it the way you want to build it. And also, I've been living in Montgomery County or Clarksville for 10 plus years. We really, really like the area. Schools around here are really, really good. So for our family, we just felt like it was the best fit.
You guys went from, 5-5 that first year, narrowly missed out on the playoffs in your first year. You go to 8-3 last year. Probably, if things might have kicked around a little different, you probably could have finished the regular season 9-1. Just what do you think was the biggest area of improvement between year one and year two?
I think the weight room. Year one, we started in June with the Austin P. We didn't have our own facilities. Didn't get in the weight room really until November after the season. So just our guys were bigger and stronger, a year older. They had a lot of playing experience. We had a good group of seniors last year that did some really good things for us. And Miles coming in, playing quarterback, definitely helped us out. We were a little more two-dimensional, so to say.
And Miles, kind of piggybacking off of that, I remember last year I was talking to Moses Bird, who graduated last year. He said that when he was at Northeast, there wasn't really kind of a structured weightlifting program, kind of weight room type deal until he got to Kirkwood. Coach Watson kind of implemented the weightlifting program, things like that. As a player, just how much does the weight room kind of help you as a player?
It matters so much. At Todd County, we had a decent weight room, but the guys didn't really care enough to actually put work in the weight room, and just everybody around me putting work in, it helped me.
You played your freshman season at Todd County. When you decided to transfer to Kirkwood last year, was it kind of in the same boat as Coach Watson? Kind of had that opportunity to kind of make your name at a program that was just getting started.
Yeah, for sure.
Just was that you were really good as a freshman. You don't see a lot of high school quarterbacks that are that good as a freshman. Just what do you think it was that kind of made you so good so early in your career?
I don't know.
You just say what you think.
I had a decent group around me my freshman year, and then the level of football I was playing also played a little role in that. And then coming up to 6A, just having the people around me also.
Chad, you guys are bringing back six starters on offense, 7 starters on defense. When I was at practice a couple weeks ago, you said that the biggest difference between last year and this year compared to year one was the depth.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said you had about 100 kids on the roster. Just when you get, you're in 5A now, but especially when you're in Class 6A for the last 2 seasons like you were, how much does that depth matter?
It's tremendous, especially the situation we've been in this past week. It's been so hot, been hard to condition, times we've not been able to practice. But, we want to continue to play more and more kids. Depth is such a huge issue, but we feel a lot better about our depth right now in year 3 in comparison to year 2. We do have a couple of positions we got to get some more guys to come on, so we got more depth.
Those guys that you did graduate, guys like Moses Bird, Perry Cross-Sneed, Gavin Hunter, Lee Buggs, those guys, who are some guys that maybe might have stepped up in the offseason to kind of fill those roles?
I think one senior who's had a really, really good offseason. I think he would have had a good junior year, but he broke his collarbone week 4 is Talon Dillman. He's had a really, really good offseason, extremely fast. Javen Norris has really stepped up and grown. He played a lot as a sophomore, but he's going to be a key receiver. Torrance Malone has had a really, really good offseason, and he's been starting for us last year every single game. And Lloyd Lisenby, who's kind of put in a position where he had to start as a sophomore. We didn't know if he was ready when the season started, but had a great sophomore season. But he's kind of our captain of our defense.
And Miles, like I said, Gavin Hunter, Lee Buggs graduated. Those are probably your top 2 targets last year. Just those guys that have stepped up in those receiver roles, how have you kind of gone about, gelling with them in practice, kind of getting on the same page?
I've got really comfortable with my receivers, like in practice, but also outside of practice, getting work in with all of them. And I worked with them a lot last offseason, or not offseason, but like last season too, because like he said, Javen played a decent bit his sophomore year, and Torrance started for me. So like we've had chemistry, but the offseason we built a lot more and just connected better.
Parker Keenan's another kid I need to mention too. Like, he split time with Moses last year, was really underweight, and he's worked his butt off in the offseason. He's up to 225 now. So like, his body's changed, and he's looking good for us at tight end. And
last year, not a lot of teams in the county had a passing quarterback that was as effective as Miles. Threw for a bunch of yards, threw for a little over 1,900 yards. When you have a quarterback that can be effective through the air, especially paired with a guy like Josiah Claybrooks who you have in the backfield, just how much does that open the playbook up for you?
Yeah, we want to be balanced. I've got experience as being a defensive coordinator for 4 years, and it's so much harder to defend a team that can do both. As long as I'm here, I always want to fit my play call into the kids that we have and our scheme to the kids that we have. But right now, we really feel like we can do both, and it's good. It's a huge advantage.
Dropping down from Class 6A to 5A this year, obviously the biggest advantage to that is probably playoff reasons. You don't have to go to Germantown and Bartlett and Houston and all those guys. But outside of the playoffs, is there anything that you don't like about moving down to 5A?
No, I'm happy with it. I think we got a good region. The travel was a little bit more than what it was the last couple of years. So if there is a negative, that would probably be it. But fortunately for us, we got our schedule the way we wanted it, to where we don't have to go to Dixon and Henry in the same year. So this year we're going to Henry. Next year we're going to Dixon. But overall, our travel's not bad. I do think for the playoffs, getting away from that 6A Memphis region, which from top to bottom, in my opinion, was the best region in public school football in Tennessee last year. So that does help us, and that's the big thing we've been talking about this offseason, is we want to make a run at the playoffs.
Miles, outside of Clarksville, Rossview, West Creek, basically all the teams that were in your region last year are now in your region in 5A with you. You just added Henry County. Does having that kind of familiarity with your opponents kind of give you an edge going into this season?
For sure. Knowing the guys that we're going up against obviously helps, and knowing what they're running and everything helps. But we want to win. We also want to win outside of Clarksville and win in the playoffs, like you said.
And, Chad, I just want to go through the schedule real quick. You open the season at West Creek, then Rossview at home, at Kenwood, home versus Northeast, home versus East Robertson, home versus Dixon, at Laverne, versus Kirkwood, at Northwest, and at Henry County. The elephant in the room's going to be that Henry County game. They haven't had a losing season in almost 20 years. They were 2-time state champions almost a decade ago. Just when, especially since you loaded the non-region schedule, with East Robertson and Kirkwood and games like that, are you, obviously the plan is to have that last game of the regular season come down to possibly a region championship. But just, how do you feel about having to go play Henry County, at their place?
Yeah, we want to play good competition. That'll be Halloween night. We got a lot of work to do between now and then. We know they're going to be good, but we're just going to worry about what we can control. We want to attack every opponent the same. We're focusing on the body of work we're putting in practice, and the body of work our coaches are putting into the game plan to give our kids a chance to win. A lot of respect for that program. Familiar with them, coached there, coached against them multiple times at Northeast, coached against them at Gallatin. But yeah, top-notch program. That's the level of football program we're trying to build.
Had a really good season last year, but I think every coach would say that there's always room for improvement. Just coming into this year, based off last year, what would you say the area that needed the most improvement coming into this year?
I think one thing is I learned a lesson that we kind of backed off the weight room, and I think we saw that in the first round of the playoffs with Bartlett. They were physically bigger and stronger than us, which they were a really good football team. So we're concentrating on making sure that we're continuing to develop our kids over the course of the season. And we want to take care of the football. better than we did last year. I mean, the Dixon game, obviously, we had 6 turnovers. So whoever beats us, if anybody beats us, like we want them to have to beat us and us not beat ourselves.
Miles, in the offseason, in addition to the weight room, Coach Watson kind of implemented the, tracking you guys' speed and stuff like that. When it's paired with the weight room, how much does that kind of stuff help you guys be more explosive to where you can have, more explosive plays on offense and things like that?
I mean, it helps a whole lot. I think one thing that I'm trying to do this offseason is get faster so I can open up the playbook a little bit more and use my legs and make it easier for Coach Watson and the guys around me.
Where did you, kind of get that stuff from? Did you kind of draw inspiration from somewhere to kind of implement that?
I've kind of dabbled in Feed the Cats for a while. But if you look at the programs that use it in the States, like I went down to a clinic on Feed the Cats, and you look at like Ravenwood's there, Alco is there, CPA's there, like just all the top tier schools. And it's one thing with going on some of these visits with Kamari, like the way they're training at the collegiate level is very, very similar to the way we're training, and even in the NFL. So our off season is we want to get our guys faster. We're going to focus on speed. And we did that this offseason, but we're actually stronger than we were the previous year. So my whole mindset now is you get faster to get stronger, where I used to think you got to get stronger to get faster.
We talked about some of those guys, like Lloyd Lisenby, that were kind of expected to step up and take on bigger roles this year. Were there any guys that, made a big leap that kind of surprised you?
Lloyd is definitely the first one that comes to mind. I've already mentioned Talon. Torrance Malone has had a really, really good offseason. Ja'Cory Cox has had a really good preseason for us, too. He's going to come in and help us at linebacker. I know everybody talks about him, but the work that Kamari's put in, he's going to play a lot bigger role for us on the defensive line than he did last year. Looked really good at times last night. Jaden Portis has had a really good offseason. So some of these guys that came in and filled roles for us last year, we're expecting a lot more from them this year. When
you have a guy like Kamari, he's probably, the best high school prospect to come out of Clarksville since probably Jalen Reeves-Maben, 10 or 12 years ago. When you have a guy like that on your offensive line that commands so much attention, just, how much does that kind of help out what you do on offense?
I mean, it helps for sure. I mean, like if we're short yardage situation, it's not much of a secret that that's where we're going with the ball. But also, like, we can pair him with Parker Keenan and get him side by side. So we got 2 cats like 6'5" plus. Parker's weighing 225. So yeah, we're going to utilize Kamari, and we're going to rely on him to be our leader on the offensive line. He's done a good job of getting more and more vocal. So we're excited about him.
You've got, most of your tough games at home. You've got Rossview at home, East Robertson at home, Dixon at home. When you have, outside of those, you have to go to Henry County. But when you can get some of those tougher games at home, do you think that home field advantage could kind of help you maybe steal a couple wins there? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, we have a really, really good following. I mean, we're only a year 3 school, but we got a great fan base. Love our facilities. It's really, really fun to coach at the Pit.
Miles, when you have a school like Kirkwood that opens, sitting at probably just around under 1,200 kids, playing in 6A football. When you have a school that is probably not the same size as your typical 6A school, is it kind of harder? No, I don't want to say harder, but it's kind of more of a surprise when you can go out there and compete with some of those top dogs in 6A when you're probably on the smaller end of the spectrum?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even though we were, I guess, in the lower end, like it was really different seeing the difference between the level of football being played, which we played up to the 6A level, but it was for sure different.
Me and Coach Watson talked about it a little bit before you got in here, but guys went to go scrimmage Green Hill last night. This is going to air next week, so you guys won't have another scrimmage between now and then. But, that was a team that went undefeated in the regular season last year up in 6A. Just did the way you guys looked last night kind of live up to your expectations, the way you guys think you should look?
Yeah, yes, in some ways, and then some ways there's obviously it's the first scrimmage, so there's going to be ups and downs. But Green Hill's a good football team, and I think we played pretty well against them last night.
What would you kind of rate you guys' performance last night? It's the first scrimmage. Only put the pads on, probably a week or two ago. But how'd you think you guys looked?
I thought our kids' effort was really good. I think we got off to a good start. First drive, we moved the ball really well. Defense, first series would have been a 3-and-out. Obviously, there's some things that we got to fix. Like, I got to do a better job of working tackling. I don't think we tackled well at times last night. Also, we're going to emphasize a little bit more conditioning, get our guys a little bit better in shape. But, man, I thought our kids competed against a really, really good football team. Josh Crouch does a great job with that program. But I saw a lot of good things, saw a lot of things that we got to fix. So that's why you want to scrimmage good teams, because I'd rather find out where we're deficient right now instead of finding out week 3 or week 4.
Miles, you were a Class 6A Mr. Football semifinalist last year. Just, when you look back on last season, are there any, improvements that you would say you made in the offseason between last year and now?
For sure. I mean, like we've been training on speed. That's a big thing. And just I've worked a lot. I've worked with QB vision and just getting better and just getting more reps throwing the ball. So
and tying into the speed stuff, like, we've tracked everything. I think day one of timing him, you were like 18 something, and he was consistently running over 20 miles an hour by the time we were done with it. Josiah Claybrooks is another kid that I should have mentioned. Like, he has worked like crazy to get faster, and he's went from being able to run 19 miles an hour to when we had our spring game, he's hitting 21 in full pads. So that was our knock on him last year. We would joke with him, like, hey, man, you'd get in the open field, you get run down from behind. He's going to be a lot harder to catch. This year, he's a clear 2 steps faster.
Went from 5-5 the first year, 8-3 the last year, made your first playoff berth. Obviously you always want to improve, but what does a successful season look like this year?
We measure success that we're getting everything that we can do out of our kids. Like, you can't control every situation you're in. We line up, we play hard as we can absolutely play. We do the things the right way all season. I think our record will take care of itself. Obviously, our goal is to make a playoff run and compete for a region championship.
I want to thank Coach Watson and Miles Redding for joining me today to kick off our 2025 Montgomery County Football Media Day. You can check out the Cobras this fall, and you can check out all of our high school football coverage on MainStreetClarksville.com.